There are many ways to prank your friends in Terraria. Let's take a look at some of the new options in 1.4.4. Greetings friends, Khaios here. Those of you who have been around long enough will know that I am a bit of a prankster, and I love setting little traps for my friends. I even have an entire video on 20 different ways to prank your friends in Terraria. Consider today part 2 of that, as I'm going to show you 10 new ways to prank your friends using stuff that was added in the Labor of Love update. But first, I just want to remind you all that tonight at 3 p.m. Pacific, we will be having our 300,000 subscriber special live stream. Also, there are under 2 weeks remaining to pre-order your Khaios and Shino plushies. We need to have a total of 200 orders to fully fund the campaign and get them shipped out. Otherwise, the campaign gets cancelled, everybody gets refunded, and no plushies get made. They are a great way to support the channel and get a little bit of merch for yourself. Thank you to everybody who has already placed an order. With that announcement out of the way, let's take a look at some of the new ways we can prank our friends. Just keep in mind that all of this is meant to be done in good humor. We're not trying to upset anybody, so use your best judgment. Don't go overboard with it, and if your friend doesn't like being pranked, don't prank them. And if you do prank your friends, you should expect to be pranked back. This is a gas trap. You can get one by tossing a whoopee cushion into the shimmer. When you place it inside of a container, it makes for a pretty fun trap. The next person to open that container will be hit by a spray of gas, poisoning them and anybody else caught in the cloud for 3 minutes. This will even work on town NPCs, so it could be a great way of clearing them out. In case you're wondering, putting multiple gas traps in a single chest will not trigger them all at once. It will only activate one at a time whenever the chest is opened. After a gas trap has been triggered, a used gas trap will be found in the chest. You can throw that item back into the shimmer to get a refill of it. Speaking of the shimmer, as long as your friends aren't wearing chromatic cloaks, you can easily trap them with this amazing new liquid. By now, you should all know that the shimmer causes players to phase through blocks. If you don't, check out my informational video in the description below. Let's use that feature to prank our friends. Go to their base and find their spawn point. Build a trap area somewhere underground directly beneath their bed. Inside of this area, place the trap that you would desire. Lava could be a classic. Statues and enemies would be good too. Spikes? Why not? Maybe just a sign with a joke. I don't know, get creative with this part. Now go back to their spawn point and fill their room up with shimmer at least to eye level. The next time they die or teleport back to their bed, they will be instantly phasing into your trap. Just make sure there are no empty spaces between the bed and your trap, as players only phase through solid blocks and the effect ends as soon as they are out of it. Seeing isn't believing for this next prank, because unless you're wearing Spectre goggles or you have an active echo chamber nearby, you're not going to see anything, because echo coding is very useful for playing tricks. Go to your friend's house and bring some echo coding. Place them on a chest so they think that the chest is missing. Maybe place it on 2 chests, or 3, or maybe the whole base. Who knows? Depends on how much you want your friends to hate you. I'd go into more detail with this one, but I have plans for the future, and I'm not ready to spoil them just yet. 1.4.4 also added some really fun boulders, which always work well for a good prank. My personal favorite is the Bouncy Boulder. This thing is absolutely wild. It jumps all over the place. You can craft it with some pink gel and a boulder at a heavy workbench. Take this into the sky above a location where you know your friends are going to be. Place some platforms and a couple of these beauties on top of them. Sit patiently and wait for your friends to show up. When they do, break the bottommost boulder and watch the full stack fly down and cause chaos. On the topic of boulders, there is also a new version that looks like a life crystal. Craft one using a life crystal and a boulder at a heavy workbench in a graveyard mini biome. When placed, this looks exactly like the natural version, only it rolls around when somebody attempts to break it, and it is very lethal. I think you all get where I'm going with this, but take a handful of these underground and scatter them around, leaving no signs that you were there. Don't place any torches, don't break any pots, replace all of the blocks that you dig up. You don't want anybody to know that this is a trap. Now, while your friends are out exploring underground and they find life crystals, they're going to have quite a few surprises instead. And if you do this enough, they are going to be hesitant of every life crystal they find in the future. Simple traps like that, where you don't have to be there, are always fun. That's why this next one is so good. The TNT barrel is a new placeable item that will explode when it is broken, causing a large amount of damage in a big radius. It is also perfectly safe to use around builds, as it doesn't destroy any blocks. This is crafted with a barrel and 3 sticks of dynamite, no crafting station required. Now, there are a great many ways that you could use this to prank your friends, but today I'm going to be telling you my personal favorite, echo-coated TNT barrels. You could just place some of these around at random and somebody is bound to break one eventually, probably even you, but I thought of something far, far better. Place one of these invisible death boxes right in front of your friend's front door while it is shut. When the door opens into a TNT barrel, it destroys the barrel, causing it to detonate. That means this will go off instantly the second anybody walks through the door. Not every prank has to completely destroy your friends, however. You could just be a slight nuisance. Head to the forest and keep an eye out for a little green bug. This is a stink bug. They don't spawn every day. Some days they're going to spawn, while other days they won't. So that means if you find one stink bug, you're going to be able to get more during that day. Capture them with a bug net. These have a few uses, but today we are going to be looking specifically at the stink bug blocker. This is crafted at a workbench, and when placed inside of a valid NPC house, it will turn that house invalid, causing NPCs to move out or preventing them from moving in entirely. Even better, you can craft an invisible version of this called the ghostly stink bug blocker at a workbench in a graveyard biome. Since this is doable even before you get your hands on echo coating, this means that your friends can't just use Spectre goggles to find them. Take some ghostly stink bug blockers and hide a couple in your friend's house, and confuse the heck out of them when NPCs suddenly start moving out and are no longer moving back in. You could also continue to avoid the lethal route by taking some simple cobwebs and our ever-trusty echo coating to your friend's house. You could just cover every inch of the house in invisible cobwebs, but I don't think that's quite as efficient, as they're just going to walk around the house breaking everything. Instead, I recommend placing just one at the start, then another after they hit the first one somewhere else in the base, and then another in a different location after they've complained about the second one. Keep them spread out both in distance and in time. Use them sparingly, and your friends will never know when the next cobweb will suddenly slow them down. Let's be honest with ourselves. The most fun Terraria pranks end in... Do you have a friend that loves to build underground houses? I think we all know somebody like that. Have you defeated Skeletron yet? If the answer is no, you are going to have a bit of work for this next prank. You can't break natural dungeon brick walls with a hammer before defeating Skeletron, but you can still obtain the wall prior to that. Break at least 251 dungeon bricks. This is the minimum amount required. Go to a heavy workbench and, using the bricks, craft an appropriate amount of dungeon brick walls. Make sure that you have 250 dungeon brick blocks remaining. The next part is likely going to be the hardest. Locate your ether and go to the Shimmer Pond. Throw the dungeon brick walls in. You are going to get cursed dungeon brick walls back. If you haven't already watched my 1.4.4 farming video, these walls are unsafe. They act just like the natural versions do, meaning that they spawn dungeon enemies when placed underground. Go to your friend's underground base and place the cursed dungeon brick walls inside. Make sure that they are all at eye level around mid-character because this is the point on the body that registers what biome you're in. Use paints to try and make those walls match the house as much as possible. Now go to a dark area outside of the house and hide the remaining 250 dungeon bricks in darkness, making sure that none of them are visible. As long as the bricks are near the house and Skeletron isn't defeated, as soon as your friend walks in front of those unsafe walls, the Dungeon Guardian will spawn to make their day. This is doable anywhere in the world as long as it's underground. You don't have to be near the dungeon. This final prank is a callback to one of the classics from my original trolley video. It involves creating a hoik in front of your friend's door. For all of the new viewers on the channel, a hoik is a bizarre interaction that is caused when a player enters inside of a sloped block or platform. Due to how walking up and down slopes works in Terraria, sloped tiles try to push players out of them rapidly. This can be used to quickly move players, enemies, or even items from one location to another. I'm not going to make a full breakdown into this mechanic right now, I might in the future, but the term for this interaction is called hoik. Visit your friend's house one last time. Find the front door and place a block in front of the door right at your feet and slope it into this shape. Now using block swap, turn that into a platform. This platform does not appear to be sloped because stairs normally can't get to the shape that the block was in. But since we used block swap to place the platform, the slope is still there. We just can't see it. And because it's a platform, we can walk into it as normal, but due to that odd slope, we are actually going to be constantly pushed out from the hoik interaction. This also means that we can no longer walk back into the door as there is seemingly an invisible barrier pushing us back out. To bring this classic prank up to modern times, hit the platform with some echo coating and your friend won't even be able to see it coming. I absolutely love this prank because it confuses people so much when they first encounter it. And those were 10 ways to prank your friends in Terraria with the new items from 1.4.4. Remember that we have the 300,000 subscriber special live stream tonight at 3 p.m. Pacific, and if you want to help us reach 400k by the end of the year, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and consider sharing it with your friends, after you've pranked them, of course. A huge thank you to my biggest supporters for the month, Matt Dragon, Nate Wiley, Hypic3, and Duke Samron. And be sure to check out my channel artist MythicalWater linked in the description below. Thank you all very much for watching. Be back soon with a new video. Until then, happy building.